jibe do Nubara jibe ge Darwa dam je jembe Barada jubara jeba jije bo jile ma Nanga dai nyambe samje damje dewa dam Changchub Rinpoche do bar cho. Those who hate me are scattered to harm me, and those who incur obstacles on my path to liberation. May they experience happiness, be separated from suffering, and swiftly stop in the state of unsurpassed, perfect, complete, and precious flow. Jiji Varada Lunga Yizong Gevala Goram Maji Varada Lunga Yizong Gevala Goram Due Terene Sonde Santa Zonje Varada Lunga Yizong Gevala Thus, until I achieve enlightenment, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Until death, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. From now until this time tomorrow, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, most excellent. I take refuge until enlightenment reached. By the mere generosity of the good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for sake of sentient beings. Godai nyambe samje damje dewa dai dewe judai dembare jurje dongara dongara ke judai tiware jurje dongara mebe dewa dai mende jurje yere chadai nidai jive danyo la nibare jurje Angadai nyambe samjen damje dewa dai deve judan Jurje dungara dong dungara ge judan jewara jurje dungara mele dewa dong mele wa jurje je nyere jadai nidai jive danyong la nibai jurje Other sentient beings, boundless in the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. Sem do de so do barai jin je lo.
Wonderful refuge, ornament of the world, your pen prevails 3,000 worlds. You are the victor, Vajradhara, without a doubt. I bow at the feet of the Father Jigten Sungun. Continually I think of no one but you. Compassion one, grant your blessings, dispel the darkness that surrounds my heart. Please bless me so that I may realize the unliberated nature of mind.
Bu ju ju je me do dong re ro ling ye nian de jian ban de song ji shen lo mei de pu ba ye do ge nong dai shen ge ju ba shu. And with the scented water,
strewn with flowers. It is adorned with Meru, the supreme mountain, the four continents, and the sun and moon. As the Buddha field, I offer it. May all sentient beings attain the happiness of the Buddha field. Om Guru Deva
Doi Gine Rena Mandala Badi Zasu
Namge Sangha
Adan Loye Che Dai Che Da Wai Che Join Tu Mo Tu Ba Ye Chu Je Ko Lo Ko Du So.
Please strike the wheel of the Dharma of the two variables and their combination, according to the dispositions and likewise the mental capacities of sentient beings.
Tam ge do je sha je song zhong xian jie me do de je gong jiang ba se jian leng bo da wo le ji xia ji jie bei xiao la ge zhang zi zhe mei wo zi le tou jie jing gu de ma zhe xie jie gu qie da wa tam ji se guo geng jian jue jie jie nian men liu ren jian ge zhang zi 没学戒严戒保障的，对路上戒跟戒我你，让什么求帮我什么同这边，这边了没小了口腔子。看到悄悄东给戒的那，得给龙门就我看，收到等点东北学见悄然白把身旁都我他们今天也想那么呀，也给到了当的几个中到他们也给能。 我跟着这个车，咱把他们这个的大概就能多。你修啥多？你修。这是的嘞。Good morning. Chính tiền đuổi, thế là đuổi.
Ông cứ ra đi rồi.
Nó không đấy.
Nó rõ mà nó rõ mình. Bắt bằng gì?
Good morning. So now we waiting for the translators, so but I don't know what we speak. So here, Tibetans, Mongolians, Polish, Chinese, Americans. So I don't know when which language we have start. So, but I think. So maybe we're waiting for, I think, translator, Ina. So meantime, so I'm really happy to see you here. And so the slowly Buddha Dharma is a little bit increasing, and so also everywhere, Dharma practice, and also this I believe is our life. Many things need to do, have to do, so. But among those, I think every sentient beings, they want to happy. So every sentient beings, we don't want to difficulties. So also we are like normal jobs, we make money and so on. So why this doing things for happy, So, but in of course, the very important, we have survive. Here we have, food and clothing and so on. But that only, we surviving is not, we cannot find the authentic, happiness. So really is the, how we can find the authentic happiness. So that is Buddha Dharma, that from the through the meditation, through the practice. So this is very important. So of course, we are in the Tibet and the Mongolians. We're familiar with the Dharma. We are practice, so good. And also, not only in like Asian Buddhism countries, but now is the Buddhism more, West. So people, they know really. So, so people, that's why people, how much benefit they know. So they're interesting in the Buddha Dharma. So I think we are in Buddhism, the benefit actually many people or many beings. 가봐도 된다고 하면 가봐봐도. So also we are Dharma practice is also take time, So I think So also we said we Dharma practice have to get realization. So realization is not get quickly, take time. So also this Dharma practice familiar. So like for instance, every routine, every practice. So I think my experience is, of course, we are Dharma practice. The first years how to practice study is most important, but more important is how to practice. So also their Buddhism is, yes, of course, we see, we call Ganjur, right? The Buddha's teachings, like 100, I think, 8 volumes. And then these commentaries from India, Mahasiddhas, like more than 200 volumes. And then how many texts in the Tibetan scholars' commentaries? There are thousands. So yes, of course, those texts is really good, Be able to study. But however, sometimes very difficult, So even though we read once, maybe very difficult. So also another way is the practice, the teachings, yes, how to practice, a lot of explanations. But put into the practice, it's not really much, we're looking for commentaries. Like for instance, we say we can practice Hyamada, right? Hyamada, a Tibet called Hine. So if the practice Hyamada or Hine, it's not really thinking about how much commentaries, what they're saying, this teacher, that teacher. But instead, like they said, quiet mind. So they're not looking for the special commentaries, special pit instructions. So we have own afflict emotions, own different thoughts, concept. That's just settled down, the start. So then it's not, it's a practical level, it's not really is the not looking at the countries. So also I think really appreciate some practitioners I'm talking about, even though these not scholars, not really the commentaries. So even though there's some, I think, Tibetans, even though cannot read the text, so I get actually my relatives actually did pass yesterday. So I know this, he's practitioner, but he is, even though he cannot read the, Dharma book, he cannot read the Tibet. So the story is, of course, he's really kind of faith, devotion, unshakable, and also he's a practice, like I think, I'm not sure, we said, okay, this a completion stage or, generation stage, but we're not sure he understands or not. But he always like chanting, Om Mani Padme Hum, and this continuation, the recite Om Mani Padme Hum, and the continuation in the devotion faith. So then he, so of course he's old actually. So a long time ago, I think not long time ago, maybe 10 years ago, he became blind, So then he just kind of always, he said, better. He said, oh, I didn't, actually I become blind. It's better because I know reaction, other people. So now he said, I really can't focus in Om Mani Padme Hum and visualize Buddha. He did. So, and 3 years later, one day, he got really headache. So what happening? He just had a headache. And later on, he can able to see. So there's no surgery, nothing. So that happened. So the sincerely practice is this lifetime. And anyway, so this is yesterday he passed. So my uncle is really practitioner, and then he looked up at sick, and then so after that he's so I think visit some person, said, oh yeah, thank you very much. You come from far away. So now I want to sit here straight. He said. So I said, I'm really happy now. I enjoy. So then the like farmer around the family, and I said, thank you. And he passed away. So I'm saying this, in order to like her, so we have to, mainly is that sometimes we thinking, particularly the Asian people, oh, I don't know how to practice. These days maybe more education, I know. But normally I know the Tibetans, probably the same way, the Mongolians. Oh, I don't know this here, how to do those things, these special things, I don't know. But I think, yes, if you know that special things, no good. But I think practical labor is not necessarily, this, I say this like special, instructions, but you really have to understand, have to practice, daily practice. So actually we have the Buddha nature. We already Buddha, but same time we have obscurations, So obscurations is not real, the temporary obscurations. So also this interesting, right? So afflict emotions. One hand is, yes, the negative through the anger, through jealousy. But one hand, we understanding the nature of the afflict emotion is the norm. We cannot like substantial. If we understanding and that through the practice, like I said, the daily or routine practice, they're very important. So also we today is talking about the Phowa teaching. So not only Phowa, so this our body is kind of temporary, body. Also this our body is permanent, impermanent. One day we just leave the body, right? But mind keep going. So mind is, we have to familiar. What are you familiar? So next life, you're familiar these worldly things, or you're familiar in Dharma practice. So that is like a left side. Hello, different subjects.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No
Something
problem.
mixed up.
Huh?
Sorry, Drupon. I'm so sorry. I got something mixed up with the time here. I'm sorry.
No. I opportunity to practice the learning English. Okay.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Thank you for your patience. Mhm.
Oh yeah. 네, 가서 다또 가서나 추치야 되라. 되네, 다 파차 하고도와. 다또 추치당데 다단게 디슬라브 요레 추치당데 다지 치당다 하고 그러와 이나다 추치당 섬노지 당비나 가서지 간조 엔조 다 뭐요레 또 참마지 로네 직 참마로 대하고 냠란치야 디스칼레 가보러와 티니네야 다 지당가서다 직 등장 라마요레 고추 치당로 팀부하고 요 티치네 당가랑 그 삼진로 치나 개체쇼 텔라 되네 냠란치야 디스 개체 모린도와
And so when we practice the Dharma, we are placing an imprint, like a habitual tendency in the mind. And so we know how to practice the Dharma, but when we now think about it, there are so many different teachings. There's the Gangyur, the words of the Buddha, and the Dengyur, all those commentaries. And we can read all of them and understand them, but then it's difficult to practice them all. And we have lamas nowadays who explain to us how to practice the Dharma. So we know about the Dharma. So, but it's just my personal opinion. What's really most important is to actually also practice the Dharma.
어다티인도 제탕로 치비나 대가나 얘기다 가서 추치야 되라 되네 대바지 고고도 다소 갈세나 나랑 그때 상고요 티인도 지 제탕 추 다리아데 야갈라 타르베 이내야 다 힌디 다 of course와 야갈베 다 가세그레 휴타리 디나야다 야가타네 티슈라 남베 키초데네 폴라 포지부 말이다 지 에시아 망보제라 다리오리 다 디나라 다 가서 하 고심바디 가서 포바인데 포베케 개초들이 다 법이 추데 뭐네 전에 지 근데 러브도 개파도 속에 지 양팍회 유네 지 야가 지 추들 양데 토바이나레 bom바이나레 삼바이나레 드니지 야가 총요사레스 라비아트니 총브레스 주 다리오레스 폴하 다포
And so in order to practice the Dharma, we need to possess faith too. And so now the Dharma was at first, of course, it's spread in India, but then also the Dharma spread throughout many other Asian countries, such as Tibet and so on. And so we are, as Tibetans, mostly familiar with the Tibetan tradition of the Dharma. And so great scholars may say that at the end of the better form of it has like of meditating and reflecting upon it has been has spread in the noble land. That Pakpa Yuas Nati Gyakara,
야르와
which is India. So.
델라도 에서 찍도 디니다 다 제타코 지 초야보 타리아라 다 짐세 몽보 요레 다 디디 제타 초제네 개체효제데 가르스나 고 열보 거랑 주치기 요로와 초제네 데리 이네 초제네 다 가란들이 섬노 땅데 베까라 뭐니 초 터시기 유테 빼메시 자침보 찌기도와 jar 지디 베다다 지 jar 파페 룽바 지디 코르지 jar 세야티 고 메인 특징보라 그러다 가서 단다 섬노당 지 퓨어랜드 오지 근디게 지 추티 대바치바자 마지베게 고 유텔라 뺨메시베게 섬지메차베게 대바지 용구도와 오다티 대바데 틴디기 좀센라 때네 되네 다 남베 추드베 다리아 내가 지 대차디도 스텐데다 데로와 베나
So there are generally many reasons for the why the Dharma has spread in India, and so it was mainly also due to kings who have practiced the Dharma on the one hand, and on the other hand also, and this place where the Dharma first is spread is actually itself a very special, a very precious place. This noble land of India. If you just think about the name of it, it is like a pure land, and actually even one can give rise to faith, great faith, even in that place itself. So that is also one key point of why the Dharma has spread in that place.
제가 나 얘기다 참내 든디 요래 다 뭐지 야가는 로버를 라비나 다 테마로도 뭐다 빼 짜침보 쉬어차버래 베나다 나랑다고 나랑다고 섬노당다 나랑 다 grandfather ke broda 인사리 다 든디도지 다 1940s 베체에서 든디젤 야가도도 인다 코란다 라마레 켐보레 베 롭종 냠도 바트리 자침부 휴요사리 디네야다 마마게 대바이지치야 조체효지 가르스나 대바 휴치기요레 대바치야 코나 야가로 세나다 빼 자침부 쩌야지 드니지 쩌기요레스
And also even in the past, when somebody would go to India and then return from India, they would regard that person as a really very special person then. For example, I myself had like my grandfather's brother who in the 1940s went to India, and so people had great faith in that, and so of course he also had some personal experience and practice. But then when he returned to India, then everyone would say that's he's so special because he has gone to India.
But then the different story, right? So situations, so we got India, weather and food and looks different, but that's okay. 티인두타 좋은 단다가 윤생칼 휴스나 대바 세야드레도. 다 대바 세야드 섬노지 땅 거래. 다 대바 지효 슬라고요와. 대바 지효라도 제타 나초게 강사 수수 주라 베나다 대바 지지게 상제 다 인딩이로와. 다 되면은 이제 대바 지지 라만다고 이나고 지 라마텔라 지 야도 스나 섬노 땅마 저 같은데 말에 고산 라마라 강사디 가스나 고 대여와 다제당 라마마제 다 담아바리 고용바 요세기데 이나야 강다리야 고직 라마 상보요데 이나야 다디 근데 섬노 땅마 저와다 말에 고 라마 당보는 송도와 라마치 텔라 직 라마 땡기요나 당보 라메크 로마다야 로메크 라마다야 근데 용그러와 이나야다 타네게 단다디 라야다 가리스나 대바세야디 섬노지 당데 나가랑고네 냠레 치기 인담면서야 됐다 라릭도 냠레 징현지 그 모이나 다 대바지 고요다
And so mainly I'm speaking about faith now. And so we often say you should cultivate faith. And so then we think about that. Of course, we have faith in the Buddha. And not saying that we must have faith doesn't mean that we can't reflect on the qualities of a Lama, for example. And of course, it's also possible that some lamas are ordinary and possess afflictive emotions. So have faith doesn't mean that we can't reflect on that or think about that. And in fact, when we first before we begin to rely on the lama, it is actually said that the lama investigates the disciple and the disciple investigates the lama. But what we're really speaking about here now is that whether or not one really can engage us in practice really depends on one's faith. So from the perspective of someone who actually practices, a practitioner must possess faith.
다 테레 다 가서 대바지 참례 가서 디 누르 당 거다 대바 지고래 다 저지데 캔서 되니 여러와 대바 지고래 이제 야 초바 푸고래 랍두 직다 라마 텔레지 게 펜도 힘비 손도지 용구 여러와 다티 노르 티인도 칼세나 나토 게 똑바지 세야지 요다 지시 유지 똑바지 세야 대인도 빼나차샤나 가서 대바지 요나 그러와 상제레 대바 요나레 라마라 대바 요나레 다 설레 대바 요나 대바 요비케 깝 들어가라 다 루셈님보다 로데 요래다 다 대바 디게 토라 다 저랑 곰잡나 야토 그래 베나다 가서 단다 베나다 몽골리아이나레 파와이나레 소이나코 에듀케이션 요러와다 제рем하고 팀부하고 요래 조랑 팀부하고 요래 나랑 하고면 하고 요러와 다 딘디제기 대바 유베게 토라 딘 하고면 다 코라타 라메레다 베는 거서 셰르 캄반로 오제 샤는 통거와 어다 나다나 다 오늘 담버레다 그 가르치는 샘 담아지 그러와 샘 마당나 다지라고 간다고지 라마인스나 다 대바 요라 멜레 손로지 되네 야면은 다다 직 용몽베 남도 망보 샤데위나 다지라고나 지탄다 펜토 요리 오마니 베모 직장 라나 펜토 요리 되나요 그 칼레 그 오늘 똑바트 제토야 요 말이 대인도 대베게 캡상데 술라라고 요래서나 라라라고 요러와 제당 다송요 저기 성공게 똑바 제타 무구 코나이 소래 저랑 주라 똑바지 제고나 대바지 거래 소래다디 디인데 캡상랑 요러와 레다 고제타나 참아 인터커넥티드로와 데바 요리 지 라메키야 체연조치 라마이나리 푸이나고 라마라 펜토 요러와 이네 펜소 토고요와디 디지고 녜데 삼고요 단다 냠렌 칭게이나 다 네라이바 라마로 땡기나 라마 좀 요래 이나 라마 코나 데려와 코나 리스폰시빌리티를 이네 초란 냠레 징행고나 라메 좀 따야요 마다 다 냠레 징행면은 라마 좀 랍초 말라면 템게로와 랍초 그러와 이네야 초란 거네가 다치 냠레 징행가 라마지 땡긴도 오잖아 라마 좀도 되네 땡기 징냠레 진짜 라 똑같아요 마다 어떻게 그 냠레 칭견다 마진 캔이 보고 가가 직세고다 냠레 칭견은 진지 링통 세야지도와 다그 가레이나 디가 지샤위나 랑 남토도 연구 지금도와 토마토 따고 되면도 너섬는 요위나 다랑 똑같이 해도 요 말와 어디니 다 땡에 단다다 지카세그 조동으로 오지 땡이요
And so sometimes when we cultivate faith, we make a little mistake sometimes. Of course, we say we must have faith. We say you should have faith and you should make offerings and so on. And then it may seem to be of the benefit of the Lama actually, but that thought is actually mistaken. now we also speak about developing realizations. So, for example, when you have faith in someone, like be it Buddha or be it a Lama, whoever you have faith in the moment when there is faith in your mind, your body and mind both will become completely at rest, at ease. And within that state, and when you meditate, you can actually develop realization. And so we all are familiar with some of the practices, like practicing a deity, the generation stage, the completion stage, mantra recitation. And so if you practice a deity, for example, on the basis of faith, then it becomes completely clear, just like you're a crystal house, you can clearly see. Or when you recite a mantra, you are actually reciting the mantra with a clear mind. And that really depends on that faith that you had to begin with. And so when, for example, when you are afflicted and have many afflicted thoughts in your mind, and you recite Om Mani Padme Hum, the mantra, for example, then of course it generally is always a benefit, but then you will not really develop a realization in this way. So when you cultivate faith, the one who really benefits from your faith is really yourself. Lord Jigten Sumgön said that the devotion is the only method to give rise to realization. So if we want to gain realization, we need to possess devotion. And of course, everything is also interconnected. And there might be some benefit to a Lama when you have faith in them and so on. But the real benefit of the faith is really on your own, is your own benefit. And therefore, if that's how I think about it, if one is a practitioner and one relies on a Lama, then we should not point out and think about that Lama some faults. The faults are, of course, he might have faults, but the faults are really his responsibilities. From your perspective as a practitioner, once we already decided to rely on a Lama, we should not look at their faults. So now speaking from a practitioner's perspective, of course, if you're not really a practitioner and you don't really follow a Lama and you see their faults, of course, you can say, hey, he has that fault. But now we're speaking about from a practitioner's perspective who actually wants to gain realization. So if you want to gain realization as a practitioner and you already follow a Lama, then if you just sit there and think already following him and then think about, but actually he has this fault, then he has that fault, then it will be really difficult to develop realizations.
Tini tiri gopchu khung ta tiri jikthong gopchu thambala tini ta te spring teaching rawa Yawa Rinpoche ke Tamjin Chenpe ke tini kachu jik kaabla kharzong song labna tini tini sanjor jik lep shaas ti sanjor ti lebdu kharse na ta morang ta shatsa tini ta tingyan do mi chi tini sansamne ma yong chi tini ta tamangwa te pe ta saya mewa ta kanta yang ka ro ma hi lamga ro te ma hin tini tamangwa te tini morang ta ko hiya ro chi pe ta ro chu chi ta tamato tapi mewa ro pa ro ma to son ro ma to tini chi ne ta ne morang ke ta chi kharse ko hiya ta ro chu ne tini Yawa Rinpoche tene pe sorwa tabi sta jik jewa chima tandana ta nga hisares Yawa Rinpoche tene ta je to ma songs ina yang ta jik jewa chima la Yawa Rinpoche je sho sen tene molam jik tabi te tabdu tende jik la pe mek zom na pe sorwa nying tamni ya mek jik dang pe kabla ten Yawa Rinpoche je songs ten jene jik morang ke jik ta lusem nubo jik lo na wo xiuchong jik luk nubo ro jik je ne tene kale ta mo jik homban ro ja to yo saro homban ro jik jap ji tene kang ta mo thar yo res thar jen ta kang ta pin so lap to yo ro skip ji ne ten lap yo res Yawa Rinpoche song song re ten re song 카레스는 뭐랑 대바레스. 얘는 나 하고 마송송에 나 디가올라. 바이산잠로 야바요 하고라. 높이 되지 않니 된 강에 나디 하고 마송송에 나 바긴 네팔 산잠라 레베야 요 마레스. 다 이때는 뭐냐 레베 요 말와 용통 말와. 얘는 야 대화 요바 메와 있는 자자자 요다 사디. 뭐 준라 요 말. 자자자 예요데. 소 대인도 다 대바스야 디기 늪에 떴게 다 산지 공황야디 톱톱 요러와. 대자 마지베기 다 단디네 가면 챈델레 양한테네 지겨워 뭐 중고섬지야 드네 되고 용구도 되니다 대바스야 돼 주님량 진행 원에이나 대바메나 되네 지아 똑같이 말해 제네 니네 갈세나 대바미비나 되네 추 양면은 추로 지비나 돼 추디 양은 비즈니스 차그와 되네 다 디메시 도도도네 추도 다 챔투야 소노 차그라 봤네 되네 다 추 거라베다 오늘 지도 추지리 상제 정도와 공남와 라남메와 양타바 다 되네 추레 오늘와 다 상제 줄라고 말와 이는 가서 배추 지도 되네 도르 비즈니스 소노 money making 소노 되네 다나다나 다 챔투 거야 거지 되네지나 다 추었는데 거다 추었다 마마 차오다 그 추 거라베다 다 밸류메가 차오라와 뒤에 지탄 가서다 나게 템투 조금만에 강초금에 라고말때 추지 qabla 그 추그 밸류도 나가요 말와 얘네다 강사 건담을 요새 그러와 걔네들네 다 대바세야 디고지 줌세 히베 손다 irreasonable faith 중세 마이게는 다 상상 가서 고초도 그러와 대바치 효라도 지 부효라도 캔사 다 캔사로 요래다 카통으로 서모 땅비는 지 얘는 양 돈다 되는 말이었어
In 1990, when His Holiness the Dalai Lama gave spring teachings, he told a story about a woman who came, who newly arrived as a newly arrived refugee to India over the Nepali border. And so as she was traveling, she had no food and she didn't really know her way, and she almost died on the way. So it was actually she was sure she's not going to make it. And so she then supplicated to His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and she prayed and said, I'm not able to meet you in this life. I'm dying now, but I pray that I will meet His Holiness in the next life. And she prayed with her eyes closed and really from the bottom of her heart. When she opened her eyes, she saw His Holiness, the Dalai Lama. And when she saw him directly, her body and mind completely relaxed. And then slowly she was able to walk again. And she was in the end actually able to escape. And so then His Holiness then said that was her faith. His Holiness said, I didn't know about that. I obviously did not come to the Nepali border. There's no way for me to get there. I didn't, not that I was actually there, but in a way he was actually there, because she had so much faith that she really 100% actually saw him directly. And that's the power of faith. If you have that power of faith, you can retain enlightenment. So to her, for example, His Holiness directly appeared in this life as the power of her faith. And so therefore, as a Dharma practitioner, if we do not have faith, therefore, we cannot develop realizations. And then also, secondly, if we do not have faith and we practice the Dharma might become like a business or like a way to make money. And then it just gets worse and worse, and you might even get into sued by someone. Someone may sue you. So actually, the Buddha Dharma that the Buddha had taught, it is unsurpassed. It is completely true, authentic. And the Buddha would not tell a lie. but then it's what we make of the Dharma ourselves. So if we use the Dharma in such a way that it becomes like a business and to make money and so on, then it might happen. And in the end, we will end up in trouble with the law. And then the Dharma just goes down that way and becomes useless to us. Of course, I'm also not saying that you're not allowed to sue anyone, but not speaking from a Dharma practitioner's perspective. And of course, there's always a different situation of different practitioners. But the main point is that we need to understand the reason for developing faith. Because if we don't understand that, and then somebody just tells us, oh, you should have faith or you should make offerings. So it may sound a little bit strange if you don't really understand the meaning. And so if you do understand the meaning, then you understand why we are developing these qualities.
Interesting. Yung can get a story pe mongbo yor da zoya mejo tri dos ta ngara phine thobri ta thambo de phu ne thobi kabla lelo yo marwa kharsena ta chi kharse gore yana so shu gore yana jaga leb gore zambata thi ko two choice lo ji ro yin ya yong go ya reason jumsen kharsena jawar mo che rare da Metendina Tejin Jena Teneta, who Karsak indicate satisfied, Chagre, Zambano, Tenidua. Tendike Tebatele, Jig Peneto Junga Samalabe, Moneji Natu Ichi Gave, Soripe Mombodoa, Drong be Momboyores.
And there are actually so many interesting stories similar to that in Tibet. There's really endless stories. Also, I myself, for example, have escaped to India. And so when you escape to India, you basically there's just two choices. Either you lose your life or you arrive in India. There is no other way. It's either one or the other. And I felt that if I can come and meet His Holiness the Dalai Lama, then in this life I am satisfied. So there are so many stories that really help us develop trust in that quality of faith.
In that garang kerwa, that got change the young today. That did Pakistan some give out the garang. Hyangma Dunta Jexila, Ninghayunga Yomare, the Legidanga to the border road, the past Chisari, Nepal Sacharwa, Yinayada, Sen and Rogu, Nepali Hakovina, Paper, Jamila Labuyorwa, Tendu, Yinayanda, the Nato that Sangel and Rogu, Sandro Dungato Manich Zanga that Sayore. Tinijel Tanga and go that the kid years at the Tenido Chitine, Dan Ro de Gavlatine, that Nakong wa Kang Tong Yomare. In a Lumbu doji, this can't be wall martis, long doji, Jagiorwa. Tenida woji letting a calamity, that cancer shoes to long doji, warm and Yajang Busundo, so that Doyamendo stung at Karchigona. Tenichana so than the flashlight, Logi Yoves, Tenido parts or chi, not to jig, Logi Chita Yorwa. Tina can't find Yomer back or Nakong Korambe. Tenitanga to Tandoyamendus. Zawanin Kunju Zawanin just a kawa homba che majas. Taga de hosta not to David. Tidinita tea, chig nam long be college that better corambet. Fit on Ramamborwa. Tinijika young. In that tripangoni homba che rona samada cora. Corambeta, Rigonda, Himalaya Rizil Masaurwa. Or Tindi into that tea, one chintata young cigarette, in a some messaging. What a tea don't know what and what up among boys.
For example, when I myself was escaping from Tibet, and we had already crossed the border, and so during the time we had to walk at night. We couldn't walk during the daytime. So we had already crossed the border and had to walk for another week, and we were already in Nepal. And so we had to walk at night, because if the Nepali authorities would have found us, they would have delivered us back to the Chinese. And so we were walking at night, about 25 people, and I was leading that group actually. And we were walking at night, and there was nothing to see. It was completely dark. And then I felt that underneath my feet, I felt that the wind kind of blows underneath my feet. And I just felt this is a little strange. And I thought, we can't walk anymore. So I asked anyone, does anyone have a flashlight? But we were looking and nobody had any flashlight. So we saw really nothing. And we couldn't go. I said, we cannot take one further step. So we had to stay. So we stayed. And then the next morning when the sun rose, actually, had we taken one more step, we would have fallen thousands of feet down a cliff. We were on the Himalayan mountains. So we didn't take this extra step. So nobody fell down. So these are all, there's many stories about, about faith and so on like that.
That is that drink up Sabadela, the Phowas, Drung Phowas, Yadreta, Be Geta Chimbo, Reta, Namjundo, then Drung Phowa de Tanya Jitan Sumgon Kabina, then the low Hiren Samnata, Phowa Chimbo, Nangiosari, that is JJ and Rochina, Lo Jungi Jela, Nangiosa, that Kanda Kain, Menayan, Drung Phowa, Sayate. And
so anyways, what we are talking about today is a practice of Phowa, the Drikung Phowa, which is quite famous. At the time of Lord Jigten Sungam, it was actually given every 4 years, and then later it was given every 12 years. And so the Phowa that we practice is called the Phowa Chakchuk Mao, the grass stalk Phowa.
Tinita Jeta, not so Tambeke, that Chu Chiala, that Mambo Yorwa, Tindu Ina, that the Phowa de Zachimbo Shure, Song, Tindu, Tine. Gombe Sanji Kunlayo, Magom Sanji Ngalayo, Sonaro Bekitine, Tonda de Kalaguersena, Re Daji Gomja, Tinechin and Yamla Mambuchina, that Sama San Jager was Jageris. Yena Yanda de Gom Magoa, Tone, Tine San Jageris, Yorina, that Gom Magoa, say that Junicoran Yamla Chimagoa, the Marwa. Yena Yan, Tandela, Yamla Chivina. Tene Chik Pechemena Chik Dunta Jackson Gombina, Kotano Tontobu Sarawa. Tatigana Yeke Tangemando Yimbina, Tatani Confusure, Lo Juniga Nangunare, Lo Hireganata, Zo Pawanangati, Dungjam Nangdwa. Tiga Latanga here, Koranji, Sonam Yaboyong, Jik Yan Le Siding at Nina. Lameke Heg Jabatam Tamaya, Mamwaji, Phowa Temroya, Yungudwa, Raya Gomagoa, Tirita, Tinitigana Yita, Ranaso Yamlan Chibi Yang, Tine, Dunta, Jig Lana, Tine, Peja Poet, Taton to Gure, Slabgudo, Teledane, Tine, Magom Sanji, Ngala you, Sayati, Lapusaris.
But it's something in Naropa.
La Naruba. Really Naruba.
So generally speaking, there are many different Dharma practices that we can engage in. But the Phowa practice is said to be a very special practice. Naropa had said that I have the practice that whereby you can attain enlightenment without having to meditate. And so what that means is that, of course, if there's many practices that we can do that where we have to practice a lot and then we attain enlightenment. But then there is this one practice that you don't have to really practice, so to speak, and still attain enlightenment. And so that it does not mean that you don't have to practice it at all, actually. But if you practice it just for a week, for example, it is said that a sign can already occur. And so, as we said, there's this tradition of giving these teachings every 12 or 4 years. Also, then His Holiness Rinpoche has been giving these teachings traditionally. And there have been stories of individuals with a special karma or are married, that when they are in the presence of this teaching and the Lama says the pet during the practice, that actually without them having to practice at all, just being there, the Phowa was accomplished for them. Or there were some, when they practice for a week or so, that signs may occur. So that is what is meant with this verse here. There's a way to it is a way to attain enlightenment without the need to meditate.
That in the Jatanda Pove Devaji Yori thing, that Sani down telling the Sama Yorwa, Ritina, that Tanda Pecheman, Drupon de Yori, and also Tango, Yang Charji, Yamlan China Yago Sare, some good Tinia, the Huglet this. Nyamlan Chetang Gor in a reading of that history, your history to the Kale Lab and Dixares, Tinian Ting, not some Mandelan Zom de Vicala, Ting Magic and Yamlan Chetang Rogic, Maji, Shushan, Yapu, Ting those.
And so over the course of the next couple of days, we also will go into some commentary of this Phowa, but also it would be good to engage in the practice. And then in between, also speak about the way to practice and about the history. We can speak about that slowly too. But so since many people have come together today, it also would be good to do the practice one time.
So first we look the first page. Then dealing with Oma Sobawa Huda Sarvadharma Sobawa Huda Han Sayajita Jerem Kandiji Gombina Tiorwa, that Jatanko Secretary do that Tombani the Chorno to the Redwa Inayanta Tonda the Kars Tonda One de Jita Tandanga Soji. Tangi Kong Shuana Yiri, Natsu Hidewa Yipiki Nyingpo, Thinley Natsu Jule Yori, the Inayang, Ko Tejeta, Mantone, Ko Nekabke, then Natsu Julata, Jik Yomombik, Doctor Segerwa, Thinley number Toba Momo, Yore Namto, Nekab Nambo Thinley. So Tindu, Ta Natsu de. Thinley Yubikala, Tangi Kong Shuana Yiri, number what on Jivi Lagomia, this Kalekaborwa. Tindu Jitang on China, Haranches Matsu Yori. Tindu Tatanda almost about Shuda Sarvadharma Sobo Shuda, Tineji, Tatandi Kingatsuji, Nekabke, New Mombekita, Topa Kandi, and told Samatini, Tansingi, or Tanson, Sambandawaji, Chigores. Tineta Ting Nane, Tangonichina. Nonage, when it is short tarda, Casangamon, New Mombeto Mina, Tandandowina, Dorje Pomore, that tea, go Dorje Pomostre, you barwa, in a tanga to number topping on it, this Kalekabon or Yungurwa, Tindutine, Teledenata, Namto Partama, Chanson, some, Namto Tombani, Tomba Ting on it, Teneta, La Carre, Jonathan, the magic lab girwa, or that he.
Then on page 1, the sadhana begins with Swabhava Shuddha Savadharma Swabhava Shuddha Ham. And so not that normally precedes the visualization, the generation stage. And so we normally say that so the meaning of this mantra is that everything turns into emptiness. So the actual meaning that we should bring to mind here is that so we all possess Buddha nature. However, we do not see our Buddha nature because temporarily there are many afflicted thoughts in our mind. There's this endless chain of thoughts in our mind. And as we mentioned before, this is why when we practice a deity, for example, on the basis of these thoughts, it's difficult to gain realization. So now when you read this mantra, Amasvabhava, Shuddha Sarvadhamma Svabhava Shuddhaham, think that now all these thoughts, these afflicted thoughts in my mind have become completely cleared away. And then from within that state, you arise as the deity, Vajrayogini. When there are no afflicted thoughts in your mind, you really actually are Vajrayogini. So it is just that when there are thoughts in the mind, then there are difficulties. So think that all these afflicted thoughts are cleared away. Everything has become emptiness in this way. And then from within that state, a deity can arise.
Da tangbong to tinda, pokinda, poki. The first once Tibet and then English. Om so Phowa Hyuda Sarva Dharma so Phowa Hyuda Han Tombe Ngale Rani Ge Jege Dorje Nenjorma Gondo Bema Rage Do Chen He Nima Zaye Chabe Nyam Chen Chen Song Yawa Chewa Junze Zeba Wuda Chi Jin Siwe Jado Turwa To Kamanga Ye We Jembe Nada Yezum Po Ye Nabo Ngur Jimba Cha Ye Sanje Tego Namgara Charaba Yon Toda Tokar Nambe Tumo Kadama Kadan Demba Sha Yon Gombe Yeje Lala Jarwa Ye Jambe Daje Surmo Amro Surboy Kenjara De Jibe Nyangara Nemba Tolong Aju Tojaran Changwa Tara Marbo Tan Rubi Jenje Jemba Go Nonla Ranje Meba Te Kobe Vusu Za Wama Che Ngola Na Marwan Tsenye Yedan Dem Danyo Ringpo Zama Yane Tangwa Tang Mane Zane Su Subi Nyinga Tsekji Jibe Dawi Demi Dendo Bema Marbo Dama Hibi Sendru Dendo Range Nambara Hibi Ngowa Tile Marbo Semi Dobo Zai Yangshin Yowa Palai Kibo Jito De Yanne Tangwa Jantong Kachewa Dawe Yobe Dendo Ngowa Zabe Lama Yimba La Namba Sanje Wapa Me Gondo Mormo Turku Chaji Jen Chogo Somdan Demba Sendang Beji Je Jemba Rembo Che Tela Cham Yu Je Tu De Yobe Taiwan Ke Rang Ke Tangwa Ga Be Ju Be Lama Nam Je Gorwa Zang. So once English, the page 1.
From within the state of
emptiness. Would you like the microphone?
From within a state of emptiness, I rise in a single instant as Vajrayogini with 2 faces and a body the color of rubies. My main face has a passionate expression with 3 eyes and slightly bared fangs. Half of my hair is bound in a top knot and the rest hangs freely down my back. I wear a diadem of 5 dried skulls, and above my right ear is the black face of a grunting sow. In my right hand I hold aloft towards the sky a hooked knife made of copper. With my left hand, I hold at my heart level a skull cup filled with blood and a katawanka resting against the crook of my arm. My left leg is bent up with a foot resting against my right thigh, and my right leg is straight as I press down with my toes on the heart of a yellow corpse lying on its back. A necklace of 50 freshly severed heads is draped around my neck. I am adorned with red silks and bone ornaments. My body appears, yet is without substantial nature. Along the central meridian on its interior is the central channel, which is blue on the outside, red on the inside, and endowed with the four characteristics. It is about the diameter of a medium-sized arrow. The upper part extends to the aperture of Brahma, and the lower end reaches to the secret place. At the heart level, on a ledge similar to the nodal diaphragm found in a bamboo, is a four-petaled red lotus. On its bed is the essence of my own awareness as a red sphere about the size of a single pea. It is light and vibrating and on the verge of flying up. At the crown, the upper part of the central channel opens up to the aperture of Brahma like a domed skylight. Above that is the essence of my own root Lama in the form of Buddha Amitabha. He is red in color, appearing in Nirmanakaya aspect, with the three Dharma robes and ornamented by the major and minor marks. He sits on a jeweled throne in the posture of Buddha Maitreya, with his big toe blocking the opening of the aperture of Brahma at my crown. He is surrounded by all the lineage lamas.
다 조우 단다디 도르지 파모 칠라 단단가서 다 디베치 나라바나기 제 공그레스 다디 이나다디 제탄 케침보린다 키 체쇼디 맞아 자 오마세야지 공그레스 자 오마데다 델라 델랍도 인타 포리나도 티나안주지 랍고사레 티인도다 제탄 자 오마지디 제탕도 다 직자롱 되니 공배 qab라야 자숨 세야로 콜로 히세야로 다 되니 고미야 요리티 이나야 아 다 단다디 되니 자숨도 공구마레 되니 자 오마치부 공구레 다 지부데 ma wo tanda manela tene teve ko la ma chiwa ka zom de wan ro che ga de ya kap to tene ya jiwo la chang le ya de la ka che de wa chi ta ji din na ching wo la na wa thing do wa ching wo la na ma wan ro re tene ta cha ta jing chen ni he dang den ba ji de tene ji chang bo yin ba tene be ta khar sa ko ji ta bo yin ba tene ta na yi chi se na se yin ba 어디네 제다 제 칭고라 나마르와 임보다 트니지 공그레스
So the visualization here is the visualization of Vajra Yogini, and that is important, but the most important part of the visualization here is the central channel. So generally when we practice the channels and winds, and we visualize the three main channels and the four chakras, but here we don't visualize those three channels. We only visualize the central channel, and the central channel reaches on the lower part below the navel where it is closed. And then it reaches up, it extends up to the aperture of Brahma, which is at the crown, and there it is open. It is, sorry, it is blue on the outside and it is red on the inside. So it is that it possesses four characteristics, such as, for example, being completely straight and being like soft or like translucent, being transparent, and so very is clear, and being blue on the outside and red on the inside.
다 다동티나 다 제당가서 제렘스야 데 리팔레티 고도 휴지 망보 치도 디스칼레카보다 디나라 다 제당다 다 단다디 지 도르지 포모 칸디 곰고레 너보다 티니 망보 요르티나 코 리파지 티비카라 다 도조 디스칼레카보다 단도티나라 제당 단다 센터 차나텔라 리파티 고티나 다조 리파티사티 단다당가서 지 가서 토카세 그러니까 디가나 되네 자오마 다 제당 자오마 코랑 차오리 자오마 다 제당 되네 라부도아 가힌 다니 링보 잠 라그도 이나 가히 되네 다 가조지 가세고다 ring fingers size 나오지 라부도아 이네다 틴리지에 게되네 다 개체효 되리다 닌가 될라 되네 빼만으로 오지 요래 다 제당 단다 당보테 말이 책 지바 정도 책 지지는 가서 데려와 뇽마 책 지바 범부 지도지 라고 텐다오 지 티리마 카톤 조사메와 티간트라라 티네 다 빼마 텔레양 빼만 담아 해요한다고 지 공부레스
And so for the visualization channel, there are many different parts of the visualization that we direct our awareness to, like Vajrayogini and the different parts. And it might be a little difficult to visualize all of that. But so the most important focus for our awareness here is at the heart level. Inside of the central channel at the heart level. So the central channel also often is described as having a different thickness. For example, it is said that it is as thick as one's ring finger. But what's really most important is here that we visualize at the heart level a ledge which is similar to a nodal diaphragm found in a bamboo, that part. So like a bamboo ledge, and on top of that is a four-petaled lotus.
다 티간트라라 다 ngachoke number hibik ngowo songre 다 number hibik ngowo tene tegle marbo zonda tegle marbo teyan tene 다 tegle 체중되다 ngachoda sema slaudoda sema da kandena sema 체중담나 여러와 이나다 제타 충중지 당가다 삼노지 당야도 ngachoda 코란 센터 차나 코란라다 ring finger lagori medium arrow lagori 다 tende size thinije kinala pema dama hiyochi peme gana ta tende ke ta ta kharsana ngaso number hipi ngo treda number hipi ngo da thinije morwoje tene yowachi komgore tiya tene ta tigle senare ta tiya tene chi yang be kharse gorchi jigo chawono tende mayimba ro yang hin yowa songdo 양시 요지 파르초초노 등 핑퐁 볼 재미지 못해 이더더라고는 공 파르초초로 지도 오다 되노 지 양본로 대가나 이게 양 넘버 힘비 그 고임비 좀 생래되네 양지 nom보임바 오다 되니도 오지 다 자천보로 오지 오다 되지 공부레스
And then on top of that is the nature of one's own awareness as a red sphere, like a red bindu, about the size of a pea. Of course, there are many different kinds of peas, but basically just a small bindu sphere inside of the central channel that's either the thickness of a ring finger or a medium-sized arrow. So you have the four-petaled lotus flower, and on top of that is that bindu, that red bindu that has the nature of your own consciousness. And this bindu is not a heavy substance. It is very light and vibrating on the verge of flying up like a ping pong ball, and having the essence of your consciousness. So therefore, its essence is very precious.
That tanda medium arrow la gurwa. So this tanda manufacture tanda medium arrow this manda yo sari song ta ngemanda wina dato song nyok ndarwa. This ko chembo nyuma tenirwa ta tanda ko ji plastics wo jo deli da che yo sari song those.
So now I'm saying that the thickness of the central channel is like a medium arrow. So nowadays, the medium arrow could be fabricated of various different things. But now in the old days, the arrow was fabricated from a bamboo reed. So that had a certain size, a medium-sized reed. Nowadays, of course, an arrow may be fabricated of plastic or anything else.
Oda ti indu ta tanda di ta tozi nga ta ndi lama tanda jubi ke ta sondab yor jubi lama tong ta ti shul heg lab gre heg ta ta yang jo ji shu gi tozi yele ina tanda tene ta tanda nyingkal yo de heg du ke kale ta jetan ti gon lo fa mi je gom gore ta ta pe je tozi yele ti kan tu su ta shu ne ya sare ta tanda je shin ji ndo sare wa.
So, and then there is the lineage supplication, and that where we at the end of which we will say the heck, and so basically from the heart we move that bindu by saying heck 7 times, slowly moving it upward toward Amitabha, but maybe we speak about that more later so we don't forget.
Okay. So now we can read the first Tibet, page 3. Origin Bema June La Zorwan de Salam Phowa Jombara Changelo Nyolam Pove Kajo Dobara Changelo Lazo Dene Tembu Chorma Ta Dewa Jende Jewara Changelo Sanje Wapa Mela Chanza Terdon Yanda Sanje La Zorwan de Salam Phowa Jombara Changelo Yolam Bove Kajo Dobara Changelo Lazo Dene Tembu Chorma Ta Dewa Jende Jewa Changelo Sanje Wapa Mela Chanza Lo Tsume Namka Jantan La Zorwan De Salam Phowa Jombara Changelo Yolam Bove Kajo Dobara Changelo Lazo Dene Tembu Chorma Ta Dewa Jende Jewa Changelo Dongden Mela Chanza Lo Dongden Singa Bara La Zorwan De Salam Phowa Jombara Changelo Nyolam Bove Kajo Dobara Changelo Lazo Dene Tembu Chorma Ta Dewa Jende Jewa Changelo Sanje Wapa Mela Chanza Lo Pago Timi Lodo La Zorwan De Salam Phowa Jombara Changelo Nyolam Bove Kajo Dobara Changelo Dazo Dene Tembu Chorma Ta Dewa Jende Jewa Changelo Wapa Mela Chanza Lo Chuye Sanje Jantan La Zorwan De Salam Phowa Jombara Changelo Nyolam Bove Kajo Dobara Changelo Dazo Dene Tembu Chorma Ta Dewa Jende Jewa Changelo Sanje Wapa Mela Chanza Lo Tsume Madin Changjan La Zorwan De Salam Phowa Jombara Changelo Nyolam Bove Kajo Dobara Changelo Dazo Dene Tembu Chorma Ta Dewa Jende Jewara Jinje Lo Sanje Wopa Mela Changze Lo Yangze Panzo Namja La Sowan De Salang Phowa Jongpa Jinje Lo Anyang Bove Kajo Drupon Jinje Lo Daso Dene Tempe Dharma Da Ai Jinje Lo Sanje Wopa Mela Changze Lo La Sorwa Salang Phowa Jongpa Jinje Lo Nyalang Bove Kajo Drupon Jinje Lo Naso Dene Tempe Dharma Da Dewa Jende Jewara Jinje Lo Sanje Wopa Mela Changze Lo Ajeje Gongjo Ratna La Sorwa De Salang Phowa Jongpa Jinje Lo Nyalang Bove Kajo Drupon Jinje Lo Daso Dene Tempe Dharma Da Dewa Jende Jewara Jinje Lo Sanje Wopa Mela Changze Lo Rinde Chuji Taupa La Sorwa De Salang Phowa Jongpa Jinje Lo Nyalang Bove Kajo Drupon Jinje Lo Daso Dene Tempe Dharma Da Jende Jewara Jinje Lo Sanje Wopa Mela Changze Lo Gongjo Thinley Namja La Sorwa De Salang Phowa Jongpa Jinje Lo Nyalang Bove Kajo Drupon Jinje Lo Daso Dene Tempe Dharma Da Dewa Jende Jewara Jinje Lo Sanje Wopa Mela Changze Lo Gongjo Thinley Sambo La Sorwa De Salang Phowa Jongpa Jinje Lo Nyalang Bove Kajo Drupon Jinje Lo Daso Dene Tempe Dharma Da Dewa Jende Jewara Jinje Lo Sanje Wopa Mela Changze Lo Thinley Tongzhou Chuji La Sorwa De Salang Phowa Jongpa Jinje Lo Nyalang Bove Kajo Drupon Jinje Lo Daso Dene Tempe Dharma Da Dewa Jende Jewara Jinje Lo Sanje Wopa Mela Changze Lo Gongjo Dende Salam Jongpa Jinje Lo Nyalang Bove Kajo Drupon Jinje Lo Daso Dene Tempe Dharma Da Dewa Jende Jewara Jinje Lo Yang Wopa Mela Changze Lo Yongze Chuji Jiangzhen La Sorwa De Salang Phowa Jongpa Jinje Lo Nyalang Bove Kajo Drupon Jinje Lo Daso Dene Tempe Dharma Da Dewa Jende Jewara Jinje Wopa Mela Changze Lo Yende Chuji Nyingpo La Sorwa De Salang Phowa Jongpa Jinje Lo Nyalang Bove Kajo Drupon Jinje Lo Daso Dene Tempe Dharma Da Dewa Jende Jewara Jinje Lo Sanje Wopa Mela Changze Lo Da Bi Mi Jiang Chen La Sur Wa De San Lang Po Wa Jung Bo Re Jin Je Lo Nyo Lang Po Bi Ka Ju Zhu Re Jin Je Da So De Ne Chen Bu Chur Ma Da De Wa Jian De Je Wa Re Jin Je Lo Sang Je Wo Pa Mi La Jiang Ze Lo Dong Da La Sur Wa De San Lang Po Wa Jung Ba Re Jin Je Lo Nyo Lang Po Bi Ka Ju Zhu Ba Re Jin Je Lo Da So De Ne Chen Bu Chur Ma Da De Wa Jian De Je Wa Re Jin Je Lo Sang Je Wo Pa Mi La Jiang Ze Lo Gar Chen Changchub Bo La Sur Wa De San Lang Po Wa Jung Ba Re Jin Je Lo Nyo Lang Po Bi Ka Ju Zhu Ba Re Jin Je Lo Da So De Ne Chen Bu Chur Ma Da De Wa Jian De Je Wa Re Jin Je Lo Sang Je Wo Pa Mi La Jiang Ze Lo Ye Je Lo Zhu Jiang Chen La Sur Wa De San Lang Jin Je Lo Nyo Lang Po Bi Ka Ju Zhu Ba Re Jin Je Lo Da So De Ne Chen Bu Chur Ma Da De Wa Jian De Je Wa Re Jin Je Lo Sang Je Wo Pa Mi La Jiang Ze Lo Ren Jian Din Bin Zai Jian La Sur Wa De San Lang Po Wa Jung Ba Re Jin Je Lo Nyo Lang Po Bi Ka Ju Zhu Ba Re Jin Je Lo Da So De Ne Chen Bu Chur Ma Da De Wa Jian De Je Wa Re Jin Je Lo Sang Je Wo Pa Mi La Jiang Ze Lo Gong Jiu Tu Ji Ni Ma La Sur Wa De San Lang Po Wa Jung Ba Re Jin Je Lo Nyo Lang Po Bi Ka Ju Zhu Ba Re Jin Je Lo Da So De Ne Chen Bu Chur Ma Da Jian De Je Wa Re Jin Je Lo Sang Je Wo Pa Mi La Jiang Ze Lo Wo Jian Den Den Du Je La Sur Wa De San Lang Po Wa Jung Ba Re Jin Je Lo Nyo Lang Po Bi Ka Ju Zhu Ba Re Jin Je Lo Da So De Ne Chen Bu Chur Ma Da De Wa Jian De Je Wa Re Jin Je Lo Sang Je Wo Pa Mi La Jiang Ze Lo Jie Zhe Gong Qiu Chu Qiu La Sur Wa De San Lang Po Wa Jung Ba Re Jin Je Lo Nyo Lang Po Bi Ka Ju Zhu Ba Re Jin Je Lo Da So De Ne Chen Bu Chur Ma Da De Wa Jian De Je Wa Re Jin Je Lo Sang Je Wo Pa Mi La Jiang Ze Lo Jian Jiu Chu Je Lo Zhu La Sur Wa De San Lang Po Wa Jung Ba Re Jin Je Lo Nyo Lang Po Bi Ka Ju Zhu Ba Re Jin Je Lo Da So De Ne Chen Bu Chur Ma Da De Wa Jian De Je Wa Re Jin Je Lo Sang Je Wo Pa Mi La Jiang Ze Lo Xie Wei Lu Zhu La Sur Wa De San Lang Po Wa Jung Ba Re Jin Je Lo Nyo Lang Po Bi Ka Ju Zhu Ba Re Jin Je Lo Da So De Ne Chen Bu Chur Ma Da De Wa Jian De Je Wa Re Jin Je Lo Sang Je Wo Pa Mi La Jiang Ze Lo Zong Yi Chu June lo sorwa de salam Phowa Jombara Chengelo Anyola Bove Kaju Dubara Chengelo Daso Dene Simbe Churmada De Jewara Chengelo Sanje Wapa Mela Chandalo Kenchen Zawe Lama La Sorwa De Salam Phowa Jombara Chengelo Anyola Pove Kaju Dubara Chengelo Daso Dene Sembe Churmada Adewa Jende Jewara Chengelo Sanji Melo Chanza Lo. So now I think we can do English letter. So maybe you can give the mic to the Ina. That is, oh, sorry. Thank you, Nagiro. Thank you, Nagiri. The Zauma Tinata, Tangi, Meto, Zaumik Nalatini, Meto, Dama Higanata, so Kichiotti, number keeping Tiglet set up Groa. That Tiglet set up Tinita Gala Carsanata, is Wapami, Jigomgurta, Wapami, Teta, Namjundo, Dorji Tonja de Groa. Dorji to my but and the Chamba Hugo, not to Koshaka Devanagi, Tindi Show Devatella. Tini tangi nga to tsawo de gochi kache de yor la orwa kache de yor la da te tanda wapa mi ki hyab yepe te won te ma tsawo de ka de wa da woji go yor da tanda nga to Phowa jang bin ne ka la tini de te jang ne tini ta toji nga to hek dun ji ta tanda yin ka ne kale ya toron hek tini hek dun ke da hek dumba tra wa hek dumba de la tini tanda de wapa mi ki thong to tok sam chi gwa tok sam chi bi ka la tini ta nga so ka chi la ya ore thi ka la tini khap to khana mar thigle te tini ninge ga la yong chi gres.
So as we visualized before, so we visualize inside of the central channel at the heart level, a 4-petaled lotus flower. And most importantly, on top of that is a bindu that has the nature of our consciousness. And then also on top of our crown is the Buddha Amitabha. Normally, when we visualize the Buddha Amitabha, we visualize him sitting cross-legged, but here we are visualizing him sitting in the Buddha Maitreya posture, which is like sitting on a chair. So he's sitting above our crown, and as you mentioned, the crown opening is opened, and the Buddha Amitabha's right big toe blocks the entrance to the crown. And so that this is how we visualize during the training of Phowa. And so then we say 7 head, and with each of the head, we think that from the heart center, the bindu gradually, slowly moves upward. And then at the 7th head, the bindu touches the toe of the Buddha Amitabha at the crown. And then we say Ga, and with Ga, that bindu goes down directly back to come to the heart center.
Tega na yita te long tang, tene mikpa tang, ta sem, te sumja la yati gre, songre ta. Ta long do chi na nga so ta thambo ot so dis ngo, ti hyole tene ka la du. Ta Reka Gamari, Hek la Begala, Ti Harkabra long time Movia Yomari. Automatically, Ochil Tondo, Hek Labdi. In a Ti Harkal, inhale che yo mares. Ta tamang ngoma dela hai dumba ti gana tene ka labi ta jatan labi this kabo yore ina ngone ka labi inhaling slap go word is
So here we need to kind of dissect them, kind of separate the winds, the visualization and the mind. And so how do we practice it? So for the winds, so we are inhaling the air, and then as we say those 7 head, we are not inhaling again. So as you say head, naturally, automatically, you're not inhaling. Something's coming out, right? When you're saying head. So you're not inhaling until you reach the last head. And then when you come to the ka, and that's maybe a little bit difficult, with the ga, you're actually saying the ga while doing an inhalation.
okay, so are you ready? Okay, so first have set straight, body straight. Right. So this the Amitabha. So first I said again, visualize center channel and this bindu, up. So also this the head. So not inhale during 7 times. And then, so last week of ka is inhalation. Inhale, ka. So then this bindu goes direct from the touch Likabe Amitabha's toe and directly go to heart center. So do you have some questions? Okay.
When the tika reaches the toe of Amitabha,
yes.
Does it stay there for a period of time or immediately?
No, immediately, yes. Bouncing and down. Then also the head, and then is the ka. Okay, first I get demonstration. Again, don't follow me, but just listening me, and then after that we together. Okay. So take time. We need to many practice. Okay. But also you as much as your best visualization. So also there I said before Vajrayogini and the center chana, this the harder. But the main point is like you have bindu, each take higher, hey. Then you touch the Amitabha's toe. Also, yes, of course, your best visualization Amitabha good, but if you're not, just kind of like you're blocked Amitabha toe, you're blocked the top, the center channel. Okay. So also I said this, first you like inhale, right? Inhale, and then otherwise you're not enough breathing 7 times. So this is actually under public practice. But we do the 6 of yoga, Naroba, the 21 hex, counter, 1 breathing, so harder. But this is 7 hex, easy, I think. Hug, 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 hug. Okay, so now we can go together. Hug, 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 hug. One more time. Hug, 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 hug. Okay, so we can stop here. So the afternoon practice. Actually, we have this Virginia translator. So if you want, take a long time, but we can look up a chanting. This the Nyingma we call Kanduke. What is the Kandu Kandang? I don't know. So the normally like Emaho Ngonsa Sanje similar. They also we can go same way in English too, but and also the history Phowa teaching. So probably we can go afternoon. So we stop here and some dedications.
당아조 로다파 사간다베 게 가추 세제 치쇼르와 와타타 신 유릉보를 로 잡치젠로 사바지 사간다베나 칸이산 사간다와 등아 좀 다와테 칼라브를 산나다제 가조 페유나제 사간다바 몸조르레스 셴바니바제 장 몸조노 그레스 어테치기레 가조 호원라시나 라사이나 사간다베 세바 주릉아도 송항상마 고자 어제 추치야 마상마 추치야데 지야클로 소진도와我这里推荐可是上届观众被推荐，上届被推荐，上届两年的被推荐，我的推荐送都有，但上届观众啊的，可惜这把短冲的那边，可惜这把鸡的那边，但鸡一那才能着哇，我这鸡，我这上届两年的话的，上届话的你这把就能安才了鸡。我听到我这推荐送中些，我听到家的有的听到，对我做年来去在图标地方，第是我当初他们什么推出些来有么哇，在给着地方去给我的 drop 头呢，这边多新不有哇，我这去真的，大家我做Drupon training 不空点学的空，就当 Florida 的学个哇，但忙不这些学习 Florida 去，就做 Florida 的有的，这去真的空给这人。상니 디 다가 주 테네 상니 나니 양대사 맹마르와스 가 주요와 어사 맹마르와스 가 주요 뒤다 지상치나 사빈바니와니 모든 가로 주소지와네 중니 니바는 가와스리 어타 사 다와타 맹마니 보데 강시나다다 뭐좀 마스 데칸 동가로 엔디티 주 니바네 가와파 주반네 제바와스 어테 치로 어떤 주싱아로 미바지我这里真的沙拉关你莫他空生东西，我提起了，当然可以在其他的都我们家弄来做，朝鲜过了我们的家提起的，听过出下的，他的啥普罗呢，我做呢，啥普罗83年前这样几块的，就是你把呢，我话法子，真的出版呢，他的。제바 파스티 와트리 와티지라 다 사간데 세바 좁지 사 빈바르와 와티니 모자 저런한테 사 니마린도 달로 와티엔디티 니보테 쇼크리 조주바네 중이치 와티네 다다티 카세 니바는 아와와스 다 텐주제 테네 섬에 세진은 가서 웹사이트 하고 샤여제 텐디 저선 하고 그래 태양제 만천대를 오는 게 되게 시시 사마트지지
So we are again holding our annual Saga Dawa teachings. We've been doing that for many years, like almost 10 years or so. And so during the Saga Dawa, any virtue that we practice is multiplied by 100,000 times. For example, if you recite one mantra, then its power becomes 100,000. And so therefore in the Tibetan tradition, we have a strong tradition to engage in practice, and in particular on the 15th day of that month. And so this month of Saga Dawa is a month where 3 holy days come together. It is the month where the Buddha was born, where the Buddha attained enlightenment, and when the Buddha attained nirvana. It is said that the Buddha was born on the 7th or on the 8th day of that month. And so if it's the 8th day, then that would be today. And nirvana and enlightenment both occurred on the 15th day. And so nowadays we're very busy. We don't have much time to practice. So if during this time we are able to practice some virtue, it's really very beneficial. And so this year for our Saga Dawa teachings, we have invited Drupon and Nyingpo to come here and teach. And many of you probably know Drupon. He has a center in Florida. And so Drupon and Nyingpo is going to teach. So today, tomorrow, up until Tuesday, so Monday, Tuesday. And then on the weekends now, the program will be from 10 to 12 and 2 to 5. And Monday and Tuesday, because people have to work, we will do 2 to 5 and 6 to 8 in the evening. So there's no morning session Monday and Tuesday. And Wednesday we're off. And then on Thursday, I continue myself some teachings on Mahamudra. That will be Thursday and Friday from 2 to 5 and 6 to 8. And then Saturday is the 14th day and Sunday is the 15th day of the month. And so on those 2 days, again, we will do 10 to 12 and 2 to 5. So you can also probably find this detailed schedule on our website. This is just to let you know. So thank you all.
tene dadi ngazo training dadi Phowa wa kundi gachu na ya de Phowa chi tere ta ngazo jundenara zamkar yango te sang te shoki dawa konso dondo gro wa tendu wa te so dadi na ya res wa tene ngeke ti chasen go te ze ngazo di gom ja she ja ze ma di sin che ne da te gom ja she ja wa tendu da wa ze chi ya yin wa tene sama tu ge che.
And so Drupon and Nyingpo is teaching on Phowa and also on 2 practices that we usually do in the mornings. That is the white Zambala, summoning of good fortune, and the smoke offering. And then later I'm going to teach on Mahamudra, and we will also do some practice in between the teachings. Thank you.
Glorious, holy.
Page 17 in the small book. Glorious, holy, venerable, precious, kind root and lineage lamas, divine assembly of Yidams and assemblies of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Yogins, Yoginis, and Dakinis dwelling in the 10 directions, please hear my prayer. May the virtues collected in the 3 times by myself and all sentient beings in samsara and nirvana, and the innate root of virtue, not result in the 8 worldly concerns, the 4 causes of samsara, or rebirth as a Shravaka or Pratyeka Buddha. May all mother sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me and mine, obstructors who harm, misleading Maras, and the hordes of demons, experience happiness, be separated from suffering, and swiftly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, and precious Buddhahood. By the power of this vast root of virtue, may I benefit all beings through my body, speech, and mind. May the afflictions of desire, hatred, ignorance, arrogance, and jealousy not arise in my mind. May attachment to fame, reputation, wealth, honor, and concern for this life not arise for even a moment. May my mind stream be moistened by loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta, and through that may I become a spiritual master with good qualities equal to the infinity of space. May I gain supreme attainment of Mahamudra in this very life. May the torment of suffering not arise even at the time of my death. May I not die with negative thoughts. May I not die confused by wrong view. May I not experience an untimely death. May I die joyfully and happily in the great luminosity of the mind as such, and the pervading clarity of Dharmata. May I, in any case, gain supreme attainment of Mahamudra at the time of death or in a bardo.
Thank you so much, Drupon Rinpoche and Drupon La. Thank you very much. And thank you, Ina. We appreciate you. Thank you, Rocco, also.
我真的，因那因为我真的感觉上嘛，突击切就可以操作年的，他这个上嘛突击切，切上的。
Yeah, and Drupal says thank you to all the translators, English, Chinese, all the translators there.